No doubt there are some genuine victims who go for this Me Too hashtag, but as far as I'm concerned, it's like a magnet. It's a gynocentric magnet, a feminazi gynocentric magnet for not so much the downtrodden and the abused women, but the narcissistic, attention-seeking, gynocentric fucking bitches that seem to... I don't think for a moment they're the majority of women in society, but they are so prevalent because they are so loud-mouthed. They are given such tremendous media coverage throughout the Western world and beyond, and political coverage, that their predominance becomes the predominant part of the culture, even though so many of these women are clearly fucking liars. Now, all sorts of people have dealt with this, from, I don't know, Stefan Molyneux to, I haven't listened to him yet, but I know he's dealt with it, Ben Shapiro, good fella, who absolutely ripped apart 20 cases involved in this Me Too bullshit, which, when you compare it to female genital mutilation, it pales into it should pale into almost insignificance now. And before I get on to an article I'm going to deal with about the first case in the United States regarding the prosecution of doctors involved in a possible case of genital mutilation, I'd just like to mention the fact that even though this is being dealt with by, quite a lot of the media, it's not being dealt with anywhere near in terms of depth as this Me Too bullshit. And you have all these lying actresses. Maybe when I say lying, they're probably so stupid and brainwashed they don't even realise that they are lying when they're saying, at last, women for all these decades have been suffering and not allowed to speak out. Now, when I went into men's rights activism about 25 years ago almost, one of the main reasons I went into it was because of the non-stop media hysteria surrounding sexual harassment of women in the workplace. They've been going on about it for fucking decades, completely unchallenged. And yet these stupid, bitch, brainwashed fucking actresses are making out that it's something new. It's the new thing on the block. And they want to attach their genitals and their black dresses on the red fucking carpet to this, to get attention for themselves and to draw attention away from the fact that Hollywood is a fucking cesspool of depravity, and they are protecting the very people that they work for. Hypocrites to a fucking person. So the question in this video, I suppose, as I'm going to put in the title, is, this Me Too campaign shit compared to female genital mutilation, which it's worse than guys being circumcised, and that's a subject that I will deal with at a later date, because I know a lot of guys are concerned about that. But I'm going to take my take on this, not my take, I beg your pardon, I'm going to take the Detroit News on this particular case in the United States at the moment. And by the way, we have a pretty similar situation in Britain. We know that there are loads of, the government certainly know, that there are loads of cases of females getting their genitals mutilated, their clitorises cut off, labia, you name it, they are mutilated, and almost nothing is done about it. And one of those reasons is, well, there's a lack of political will, there's a lack of media attention, and feminists care far more about the frivolity and the bullshit that these attention-seeking Hollywood whores come out with, because they have names to themselves, or they're trying to advance their names or sell a book, and it's more dramatic, sells more rag, sells more copy. So fuck real victims here. But anyway, feds weigh appeal in genital mutilation case, and this is from just a couple of days ago. Federal prosecutors were weighing Monday whether to appeal a judge's order that dismissed the most serious count against 2 doctors in the nation's first female genital mutilation case, a sex charge punishable by up to life in federal prison. The move by U.S. District Judge Bernard Friedman on Sunday granted a defense motion to dismiss a conspiracy charge alleging Dr. Jumana Nagarwala and Dr. Farudin Attar transported minors to Metro Detroit with the intent to engage in criminal sexual activity. While female genital mutilation is a federal crime, the allegations do not constitute criminal sexual activity, the judge said. Now, please bear with me on this because I'll cover more of this article, and obviously I'll stick it in the comment section and pin it to the top so you can have a look at it. That was actually a correct technical decision, and it carries on. The move was a victory for the defense teams, but leaves in place several other charges, including a conspiracy charge that could send the doctors to prison for 20 years. A trial is set for January 2019. Why the fucking wait? Why is this being delayed like this? Anyway, the prosecutors are going to continue to proceed with the remaining charges against the defendants, who are accused of mutilating the genitalia of 7-year-old Minnesota girls whose mothers brought them to Metro Detroit last year. Prosecutors say they were cut by Nagarwala in February at Attar's clinic in Livonia. 8 people have been charged, all members of a Muslim sect. You don't say. The Dawoodi Bohra, based in India. Locally, most members of the sect belong to the Anjuman-e-Najmi Mosque in Farmington Hills. Now, you're not going to find that this is the reason that feminists themselves and feminist organisations and groups in the United States and here in Britain and no doubt throughout the Western world won't attack this. They do mention it, it has to be said, but by and large they are embracing Islam. God knows why. When you have Sharia law, which gives a woman's testimony in a court as having half that of a man's, which at this moment in time, with the lies that women are telling on #MeToo, I'm not exactly opposed to. If we could incorporate it into Western fucking law, then we wouldn't have such a travesty of criminal justice systems throughout the Western world. In this particular country, in Britain, we have figures carried out every single year, carried out under Section 95 of the Criminal Justice Act of 1991, and the Home Office prove their own fucking figures, year in, year out. Women receive more lenient treatment than men. So I'd rather fucking switch that round, have Sharia, take that, convert it into something Western, if you can follow what I mean, and let's turn the fucking thing on its head. And then these bitch feminists will have something to actually complain about, because the Home Office don't want to do anything about it, nor does the Lord Chancellor's Office, and it's the same throughout the rest of the Western world from what I can see so far. Okay, I'm going off on a tangent there. Anyway, defence attorneys argued that the government was impermissibly using the definition of criminal sexual conduct and the state law and sexual act from another. Okay, yeah, it isn't sexual conduct. So, even I'd agree with that. The alleged conduct does not qualify as sexual activity because the doctors did not intentionally touch the girl's genitalia for gratification or abuse, or to abuse, humiliate or degrade. Well, to sexually abuse, certainly I'd go along with that, but it's not the fucking point. Anyway, I'm going to drop down the article a little bit here. Prosecutors say the girls were cut, but defence lawyers say the procedure performed on them was benign. Yeah, you cut someone's genitals, that's benign, and not female genital mutilation. They accused the government of overreaching. One girl told the FBI that Nagarwala pinched her on the place where she goes to pee, and a subsequent medical examination showed the girl's genitals did not appear normal and a section had been altered or removed, according to a court filing. Well, I'd rather know the details on that. Was the girl's clitoris removed? Because that's what frequently happens. I don't know in this case, you see, and I don't want to indulge in sub judice. A doctor also observed scar tissue and small healing lacerations. Anyway, I'll drop straight down to the last paragraph. The government argue that while the law does not define sexual activity, which I don't believe this was, the count should stand because the cutting and penetration alleged in the indictment constitute violations of Michigan's criminal sexual conduct statute. The defense lawyers, by the way, want this all just dismissed. I'll deal with male genital mutilation at a later date, but in this case it seems to me that feminists, feminist organisations, the mainstream media, politicians, where are all these people on this terrible case? Their priorities are all fucked up as usual because they pander to Muslims and crawl and grovel to them. First of all, they bring them into the country en masse, and then they refuse to criticise any aspect of their ideology. You make your own minds up on this. But for the feminist media and feminists to promote this Me Too lying bullshit compared to something serious like this is sick. Fuck them all. Thank you very much if you've got this far.